So if you've ever been to the Big Island of Hawaii, you're probably familiar with the Puna district. Most of the Big Island is really just a big lawless jungle with scattered houses everywhere, dirt roads. So we spent a couple days driving around the Puna district, and it is really off-road, off-grid. We thought at one point we were going to get a flat tire. It was a lot of fun driving around back there to see how people live pretty much off the grid in the middle of the jungle, in the middle of nowhere, on an island in the middle of the ocean. Then we came across a house, and turns out the guy has a YouTube channel, and his name is Bill Merrill. And Bill told us what life's like out in the Puna district, out living in the jungle, out in the middle of Hawaii. It was a very insightful interview. Here it is right here. Bill Merrill.
Oh, the worst part. Okay. You asked me about the worst part of Puna, and now it just crossed my mind when you start talking about frogs, because Maui got the frog, okay? They went crazy. They had an army of people out with sprayers and to try to catch the frogs. And I do believe they probably pretty much eliminated that they had them. Here, the frogs got in here, and they waited, and they waited, and they waited, and they waited. And so then they finally said, oh, it's too late. Sorry, can't do anything about it in Puna. The Puna is a write-off. Puna is the place where natives live, old hippies live, bikers live, artists live, and frankly, no one who's really important politically to the state as far as that's concerned, okay? And the frogs get here, you got them. The semi-slugs get here, carrying rat lungworm, you got them. They go to any other island, they have a panic. Puna is the write-off zone. This is where everything gets dumped and no one cares.
Puna's a very Wild West, do whatever you want.
Yep.
They're like the building codes, the way of life, the no restrictions, just hidden away from view. It feels very untamed,
it is.
I guess,
yeah,
is the best way.
It's the Wild West. Alaska is more so because they got Kodiak bears and great big guns, okay, but we only got pigs. But yeah, it's the Wild West, and people believe they can do darn near anything they want to out here. Well, they actually can't. They find that out. But there's a lot of building without proper permits and not to codes and so on. It's sad for people. It's not really my problem, but it's sad for people because this house was built with a permit. Because of that, it's got insurance. The property's insured. Anything that happens here, I'm probably covered. But the insurance is important because if I ever decide I want to get out of this place because it's too much for me, no problem selling it, okay? Because it's permitted and it's insurable. But a bank will not give you any money on an unpermitted structure because there's no way to insure it, and the bank wants insurance. And so most of the unpermitted structures we have around here were not even really built properly to code, okay, to begin with. And so when you run into one, you're opening up a can of worms around here that was somebody else's negligence that you really don't want to get into. Because the only way you can buy it is either you have the cash, that's not likely, or they'll set up a contract with an owner. There was one going on next door over here with this place because it was unpermitted, same thing. Try to sell it for a price, but you can't sell it for the same price I can sell mine for.
Well, besides what else makes it Wild West-y besides the building situation?
Well, you'd be surprised, I guess, with the people I meet around here, for instance, how prevalent Pakalolo is in the culture.
What's that?
Cannabis.
Oh, weed. Okay.
Yeah, cannabis. Yeah, that is so prevalent here. Hawaii was the only state of the union years back when, like, Mexico was the supplier that had its own land race. The Maui Wowie, we actually had a land race that established here too. So that's so deep into the culture. Most people from the mainland find it quite surprising that we haven't legalized it.
Yeah, why haven't they legalized weed? Because right. It's like, yeah, why?
It's easy. Constitution. This was a territory, okay, not a state originally. And so 59, when they made a state out of it, I guess there was consternation over the fact that, well, we give them too much freedom of the Constitution. Who knows what they're going to do out there? And so they didn't allow us to have binding citizens initiatives.
You've talked about life out here. I wanted to ask you, give me an idea on what it's like to live out here.
Well, it's different. It really is very much unlike any other place that I've ever been in the U.S. There are some places maybe a little bit similar, but I'd say at the very bottom line, one, it's an island. Okay, that changes a lot of things. All right, I mean, we're 2,000 miles away from anybody to begin with. No, can't drive a car here. Got to fly, okay, or take a boat. And so that makes it a little different. But because we're on an island and we still have relatively intact traditional culture that the Polynesians brought here, so a lot of the Polynesian culture still exists here, probably a lot more than you'll find in most parts of the mainland United States, as far as, if the Irish settled here, like the Irish got Chicago, and so do the Italians, and so on. But the culture is, they got spaghetti, pizza, and green beer, all right? Here, they talk aloha, and they still sort of mean it. And a lot of us that come here, it was Lyman, the missionary, one of the early missionaries to come to Hilo, who said, anybody who comes here either eventually becomes Hawaiian or they leave. It's that simple. You either integrate somehow within the culture here and become part of this happening, or you just don't fit in, And there's a lot of stuff on the mainland right now that just doesn't fit in. It just doesn't, because it doesn't match the kind of thoughts we have about life out here. When you live on an island, you've got to take care of each other. And when you really think you want to beat somebody's head in, you would rather be better off to have some aloha. Because you don't want to start a tongue war out here on this place, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that original culture still exists. It's probably stronger on the Hilo side, here, the east side, because this is the revival of Hawaiian dance, language, and traditional culture here. The U.S. government, like any other traditional culture, it attempted to completely stamp it out between, our government and the religious, missionaries and so on. They made them put clothes on, for God's sake. Anyway, yeah. So
it seems like it takes like a specific person to live in this district in particular. What kind of person does it take to thrive or to survive out in Puna?
Well, for one, unless you're loaded, or unless you're willing to be just poor as a church mouse, okay? I do believe you better know how to hustle. It's a hustler's culture. It was more evident, I think, before COVID. But I mean, people around here, you show up at the farmer's market, they're selling brownies, they're selling cookies, they're growing plants. That's, okay. Here, I have Nursery. Now, I've done that for 30 years. I ran, number one nursery in the Bay Area. Navale's was from 1885, and our store in Fremont was number one continuously in all the polls. So I have a long background, and before that in Wisconsin, I did nursery. So I do nursery here, but I did farming in the Midwest, and so I still do a little bit of it here. I'm retired. I'm 72 years old, Okay, so I don't farm too hard, but I still, if we cross the driveway, there's crops over there, broccoli, cabbage, corn, onions, squash, and so on. And I always overproduce. And you have to if you're going to survive here. So part of hustling for me, I guess, is that we provide maybe about 50% of our own food, approximately. And some of the rest of the food that I don't do myself, I swap. There's a lot of barter here. So I will trade nursery plants or produce, tomatoes or something to my neighbors who raise eggs, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so the type of person is one I do believe that unless you really are well suited with money, and if you are, you're probably going to go over towards Kohala or someplace where it's more expensive, it's more touristy, it's prettier, Puna's rough, it's hard rock, a lot of it. We're different on this site. This was chosen specifically for having 16-foot deep soil because I farm. But there aren't too many places like that in Puna. Most of it's just plain rock. And so I do believe, I talk to a lot of people on the internet because of the channel, my exposure. They're curious about living here, And so people will ask me questions. I mean, my expertise is horticulture. It is not real estate, but horticulture connects to earth, right? Because as a farmer, you understand soils and climates and things. So I'm a reasonable person to ask a question to, and I have a long history in fertilizers and other things, But they ask me, and so I talk. And the one thing I notice frequently is that people have a dream. They have images of the place. I think my response to it is that paradise is a state of mind. Hawaii is a state of the union. Okay? They come here, or they think they want to come here because it seems like, everything grows and, and it's grass skirts and surfboards, and yeah, it is. Yeah, we all have pauhana in the afternoon. You got to take time, and we live on Hawaiian time after you live here for a while. I got time. You give me 15 minutes, I give you 2 hours, but you can't put that on the internet. I have the time to talk. I'm retired. And so a person who can lay back and not feel like they have to go somewhere. If I had to get in my car, all I could do is drive around in circles, right? I can't go anywhere. And so a person who is able to figure that the spot they're parked on, it might very well be just the best place there is on earth for your rear end to be sitting. If you're comfortable with that idea and you don't feel like you need to be getting up, I've seen these guys. There's a lot of them.
We drive down roads. We were on D Road in Hawaii, and just down the street was at Hawaiian Acres.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'll go a quarter mile and see a gate, a gate, very rural rainforest. Why do people decide they want to live out there? What kind of person decides they want to live in the middle of a rainforest away from everybody?
I think, actually, it's not as far away from everybody as you might think. To be honest with you. I know from driving around here with people that people will say that, wow, it's just nothing but wilderness, Actually, you go past the line of trees and look inside. Get on Google Earth and look down, okay? There's a lot of people here. The island has, I think last census, 220,000. Puna's increasing. As a matter of fact, Puna district is the fastest growing part of the state of Hawaii because price.
It's cheap.
I think that's the main draw. In a way, I'm not motivated by cheap, okay? That's just not a factor with my life. But I did end up here because of the California real estate boom. I had it all figured out. I was going to retire in San Luis Obispo. I have long history there, blah, blah, horticultural school, really nice political town, best farmer's market in the state, and on and on. Great place. And, just about the time I got my ducks all in a row and had my cash and I was ready to move, California real estate boom hit, and overnight, San Luis went 300% overnight. Somebody figured out that it was halfway between LA and San Francisco. And it's a college town. Mm-hmm. Whoa. And so I lost out. There was no way I could do that. That was beyond my scope at the time. And so synchronicities brought me here. Two friends who didn't know each other in the same day on a telephone call me up and tell me all about the property they bought over here. I should go over here and look, blah, blah, blah. They didn't even know each other, but this happened. I said, okay. So I started looking. Both of us, Ellen and I, my partner, we'd both been through the same college geology class on Hawaiian volcanoes. This is a weird, because you would think living on active volcanoes should repel people. Although if you're highly educated on this particular type of volcano we have here, I missed, that you'll realize they're very different and there's no problem really with them. You always have at least 7 minutes to get in the microbus in the worst place around here and get out of Dodge. Okay, these volcanoes do not explode with pyroclastic flow. It's raining, it's going to continue.
Let's go under the carport.
You don't want to get all wet. I have sent several cameras back to Canon because of that. I flooded them.
Yeah. Well, give me the best part of living in the Puna district and the worst part of living out here.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I would say the best part, if you don't mind rain.
Yeah.
Because it is one of the rainier parts of the island. If you don't mind it being rainy, it's the weather. The weather here is so mild, especially where we're at. This is 1,500 feet up, see, and actually it's 1,600 feet up. And at this elevation, it's pretty much like spring all the time. It never really gets hot. The hottest I've ever seen was 89 degrees, and that's rare. And it doesn't really get cold. The coldest I've ever seen was 50. That's at night, New Year's, And so the climate, it's great for old people. I mean, you can have all the arthritis in the world you want, and it probably doesn't ache here, But the worst part of it, let's see. I got to think a minute on that one. I don't generally think in those terms very much, but I suppose it's probably availability of goods and services. If everything's scarce out here, we don't have enough doctors, we don't have enough nurses, there aren't enough, really much of anything. Everything either leaves the island to go look for more money somewhere else and a better opportunity. You could make a lot more money doing cosmetic surgery in Los Angeles than you can giving birth to children in Hilo, trust me. And so there's that factor. I use fertilizers in different soils and different types of containers and things in the nursery, for instance. Well, I'm used to being in a constant rotation. People are asking me, Bill, what kind of fertilizer do you use? And I go, what I can find, because everything goes out of stock here. And when it goes out of stock, you can wait months. It's on a boat, or if something happens to the boat, and the Lord have mercy, But yeah, right now we've been hanging out. I got a Chevy Bolt. Boy, you wouldn't believe how long it took to get a battery for that thing.
Yeah, I'm just going to get under here with you.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, so, that's probably the worst part of it. I suppose the added expense involved in shipping, that increases the price of almost everything. You really have to get used to just the fact that you're going to pay that. But, of course, this is not maybe the worst part, but once you get here, you're here. And, of course, we've got Amazon Prime and other ways of getting around high costs these days, But still, I'm not living in Kansas City. I don't know what they pay for a gallon of gas or a quart of milk. I have no idea. I pay what I pay. But I hear people who come here who are comparing apples and oranges all the time. They go, oh, it's so expensive. Oh, my goodness. Milk is $5 a gallon, Well, you got to drink less milk. If you're lucky, you're lactose intolerant. So, anyway, I guess that's the worst.
It just seems like, it just seems like the people that are out here in this part of the Big Island are here because it's affordable and they want to be away from people to do their own thing.
That's a good one right there. You just put your finger on it. There was a time I was part of the Back to the Land movement in the 60s, okay? And at one point I owned up to 240 acres in Wisconsin, and used to farm and stuff like that. Well, the lesson I learned, I think, out of all of that is that whenever you try to escape something, it chases you. It will chase you. There's no way you get away from what troubles you if you're trying to run, okay? I found, for instance, I couldn't stand Chicago at the time.
So there's a lot of people out there trying to run, then, you think?
Oh, yeah.
Hiding from something?
Well, there's a lot of fear in the U.S. right now. Fear is caused by a number of reasons. We had a very unstable political situation that's really hard to deal with. We've had a lot of protests. There's wars going on over the dang planet at the moment. But then COVID, when it set in, messed everything, including the economy. It's the main reason we have inflation. For instance, the whole world's got economic problems because of it. You can't shut the planet down for 2 years, And so, but the fact of the matter is that COVID upset the gut biome, and so many people. It did it to me. And the gut biome is your gut brain. That's the vagus nerve, and that's where you produce using your bacteria in your gut. A whole lot of the dopamine and the happy stuff that makes your brain work properly. Well, brains don't work properly for many people after COVID because the whole gut biome got completely kicked. All right, and it got kicked in a disarranged fashion. So it caused people to be anxious, unhappy, angry. If people come here thinking you're going to get away from it all, believe me, you're walking right into it. You have a brand new set of problems. Brand new set of problems, that's all. There's no substitution for trouble in life, you know. I get off pretty lucky sometimes with the way my life is. I don't have too much trouble, but a lot of that maybe has to do with the sort of the way I live and things I observe and why, you know. Man, I tell you, you can get as much trouble around here as you can anywhere. You can lose your shirt as bad, you know. And I kind of feel that both Alaska and Hawaii, being outlying states, you know, and being more wilderness type places, not so heavily civilized and settled, both of them draw people with dreams. And in both cases, I see dreams fulfilled, and I also see nightmares, because dreams turn into nightmares too, real easy. And if you're not ready for it, you know, if you got the illusion that you're coming here in this paradise, you know, and whatnot, good luck. Good luck, because the roosters will crow all night long, you know, the dogs bark, the coqui frogs, 90 decibels. Sometimes I'd like to leave the island just because of them damn frogs. I've got there's a tank sprayer right there, loaded with citric acid and water. They get too close to the porch. Yeah, it's 90 decibels they get under the roof, and they scream and it bounces off the metal.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I hope that answered the question. I've been rambling.
No, that was great. That was perfect.
Good luck keeping it. Weeding. I drive myself crazy with weeds. That's why I use this stuff. When it gets too weedy, that's watermelons. I pull the crop out, throw the weed block over the top, let it die, and when it's dead, I come back and replant. Yeah, I don't feel like working that hard. There's Hawaiian sweet corn. I know a lot of people from the Midwest are always excited when they see corn. You know, it's the universities, which is tomatoes, kale, pigeon peas. It's all citrus over here. Lemons, tangelos, tangerines.
Got it all in here.
Oh, there's a lot. Yeah, a lot of this is my food. I sell and eat the tangerines and the tangelos a lot. There's black raspberry here. There's peanut butter fruit. Here's a promising row for the future of achachas, the Bolivian mangosteen. These are very coveted. I have 5 of them. We'll see. I'm still waiting for fruit. We imported the seeds from Bolivia to get them here. I got a bunch of jabuticaba varieties. I don't know if you know anything about those at all. Jabuticabas are the ones that fruit on the stems.
No, I didn't know.
Oh, they're interesting. This is the peach one. That's a seedless. That's the green. This one here is a lot. It looks like a backwards yellow fig. Here's Ellen's pineapples. That's her stuff. She does Hilo whites. Oh, here's some starting to fruit right there.
Oh.
We do quite a business in pineapple. The stuff is like $6 a pound for the fruit, and I get for the slips that come off this, the divisions, I get $250 a box in the mainland for them, and so it's very profitable for me. I like pineapples a lot. Here's jabuticabas. Like this one of them over here is fruiting. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. This is cool. Probably make a pretty good picture for you. If you haven't seen such a thing, ooh, find a nice black one. Pop it off, stick it in your mouth. Look for the blackest one. We usually spit the seed in the skin after a while.
What is that?
Jabuticaba.
I never heard of that.
Well, it's from Brazil. Isn't it? Here, have some. Take them to your
Thanks,
friends.
man.
Yeah, it's Amazonian fruit. Grows really good in Mountain View. I have a bunch of different varieties of them here. Neat, huh? Chico sapotes, Mammy sapotes, more pineapples.
What was that one?
Chinese banana.
Chinese bananas.
Yep. There's abiu. There's cinnamon over there.
You got everything. What do you not have out here?
I don't know. What I don't have, I guess, I'm not sure. Well, what I don't have right now is another 100 coffee trees. We cut them all down and chipped them, used them for fertilizer because the coffee bean rust and the coffee bean borer has just got to be too much trouble here.
Yeah,
yeah, it's a trouble thing. Yeah, lemons back there. Yeah, here's one. See that bamboo?
What is that?
That is Himalayan purple stripe bamboo. If you look close inside at the trunks, it's got pinstripes up and down the tubes. And that, let's see, Himalaya calamus dampiera falconeri. That's the Latin on it.
That's like 50 feet tall.
Well, it looks like I see an abiu up there, but I don't have a picker with me, so I can't get that. There's some abiu in there. That's a real good, another good fruit from the Amazon. That one fruits on the sides of the stems too. Big yellow one though, like a big yellow lemon. There's ice cream bean and Rollinias, and this is a mini Olatangelo. I bet you know that one. Oh, here's Ellen's got her orchids tied in almost everything around here, and if you look close, you'll see orchids on everything.
So,
Are you taller than me?
I can probably grab that.
If you can grab that shoot, pull it down. There you go. Okay, good. We got it.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, you got it. What is this called?
Rollinia.
Rollinia.
Bite. That's from the Amazon too.
I will for sure.
Is the kitty moved?
Yeah, cat's out of the way. Man, look at that Jeep. Nah, it's not that bad. There's some mud. Well, that was a good video. Hope you guys enjoyed that report from America. So we've been to every state now, and we know so many great places that most people don't know about. If you're trying to figure out where you should move, I can help. Email me, and I'll tell you about how I can find you the perfect place for you to move to. And if you need a realtor, I can help you with that as well. No one else knows America more than Nick and Kim and Mappy. This is my email. You can also find it in the description or on the channel. Okay, so a lot of people email me and they comment and they say, where should I move, Nick? Well, I do consulting for that, as you know, but a lot of people want to do their own research. So I have published an ebook. That's right. Email me and I'll send you my comprehensive and always updated guide on the best places to move in each state. We're always traveling, so we're always updating the book. Find the best places to live in America from the people who have seen more of America than anyone else. That's true. Google it. Well, hey, Nick Johnson fans. So YouTube's pushing this whole membership thing now, and I think it's great. So I set one up for this channel. If you want to be a member on this channel, you can only do it on your computer right now. They make it hard for some reason. So go and hit join right there, and you can support the channel and join various membership tiers. I'm excited about it because I'm going to post all sort of behind the scenes content, extra interviews, fun Mappy stuff, bonus songs, and more. Just some extra stuff that doesn't make it onto the main channel. So think about becoming a member. Huh, everyone?
You should join. I did.
And if you want to buy some Mappy gear, well, you can find that link in the description as well. You can get shirts, hats, mugs, stickers, hoodies, all kinds of great Mappy merch. Click the link, get some Mappy gear. I'm also on Cameo. If you want me to send you or somebody you know a personalized video message, go to Cameo and search Nick Johnson, or just click the link in the description. Thanks for watching.